night, boys. Yeah! Good on you, Thomas Burgess! Good on you, Tommy! South Sydney! Yes! Yes! Go! Yes! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! Go! Go! Yes! 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 Go! Yeah! Yeah! Good on you, Joy! Let's go, boys! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! Go! Go! Yes! Yes! Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Cody, and today is the big day. Today, it feels like Christmas because the 2025 NRL draw has officially come out. The NRL Men's, NRLW, and of course, the NRL All-Stars and the State of Origin have all been announced. The draw officially came out at 11 o'clock. I have not seen any parts of the draw yet other than round one, Magic Round, the All-Stars, and of course, the State of Origin. Today, I will go through every single one of them. I will start off with the State of Origin, and then we'll go with NRLW, and then we'll, of course, we'll do the most important one, the NRL Men's one. That goes from the 1st of March or 2nd of March until the 5th of October, 2025. But what an exciting day it is to be. The draw is finally out. The draw is like a bit a week late than it usually is. It's usually in the middle of November, but we're 2/3 of the way through now. But it's all right. At least it has officially come out, and good thing to see that round one had come out on Sunday, 6 a.m. Don't agree with the time. Round one fixture is pretty good. And then Magic Round came out, I think it was yesterday, I think it came out. And the fixtures are pretty good, but I don't agree with most of the times. But you can't do what you can't deal much with it anyway. But before we get into the live stream, guys, don't forget to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss out when a video gets popped. Anyways, guys, without further ado, let's get into the 2025 NRL draw, and we'll start off, of course, with the All-Stars game. Now, the All-Stars for both men's and women's have been confirmed to play on the 15th of February 2025. The time is, I don't know what the time is, but I would guess it's going to be a 2 o'clock game for the women's and 4 o'clock for the men's one, and they both will be at CommBank Stadium, which is actually on my birthday, funny enough, which I was not expecting to see, but hey, I guess I get an early birthday gift from the NRL gods themselves. But yeah, so in the preseason challenge as well, we'll go through that as well. We'll go through that right now. So the preseason challenge will kick off on the 7th of February with the 4 Vegas teams, Sharks, Warriors, Panthers, and Raiders. They will be playing a double header on the set. Well, not a double header, but playing both at Sharks Stadium. Sharks Warriors at 7:30 on the 7th of February, and then Panthers Raiders on the 8th of February at 7:30, also at Sharks. I don't know why they're both at the same venue, but I guess it is what it is. And of course, we get into the second week of the preseason challenge. So on the Thursday night at GIO Stadium, we got the Raiders taking on the Sharks. On the Friday, we've got 2 games at Donald Jones Stadium, Knights versus Eagles. Then at Balliol Park in Cairns, got the Cowboys taking on the Dolphins at 8 o'clock. Cowboys usually take a preseason game up to Cairns, not too far from Townsville either. On the Saturday, we've got quite a few games. We've got 3 games. On first one at 1:30 our time here, 3:30 in New Zealand, we have the Warriors taking on the Storm at Mount Smart Stadium or Go Media Stadium. 3:30, you've got the Rabbitohs and Manly at Industry Group Stadium, so not bad. And then on Sunday, we've got 3 games. We've got the Broncos and the Titans at Toowoomba Sports Ground in Toowoomba. Bulldogs taking on the West Tigers at the Strata Jubilee, followed by the Dragons taking on the Roosters at 7:30. So that's the only double header in the preseason challenge for round 2. And then we got round 3, and this is the final one. I don't know why to split it into 2 separate ones, obviously, for the teams to go to Vegas and stuff. On the Friday, we've got 2 games. We got Manly taking on Panthers, sorry, a double header at Leichhardt Oval, followed by the Tigers taking on the Eels at 8 o'clock. On the Saturday, the annual Charity Shield, of course, between the Dragons and the Rabbitohs at Mudgee. Returns to Mudgee after what was that Mudgee last year. He's been at Mudgee since 2018 and could possibly go to this. So it'll be a very exciting time. Back to the 3 o'clock slot like it usually is. Then we got the rest of the Saturday games. We've got a double header at KO Stadium. We've got Broncos taking on the Bulldogs and Dolphins taking on the Titans. And to wrap it up Sunday, at 2 o'clock, we have the Storm taking on the Cowboys at Casey Fields, Melbourne. I have no idea whereabouts that is in Melbourne. And at Industry Group Stadium, of course, we've got the Roosters taking on the Newcastle Knights. So that's pre-season challenge done and dusted. The 4 Vegas teams are playing in the first week, and then some of them not playing round 3, and some of them are playing round 2. So I don't know how that's going to work, but the concept of the pre-season challenge is terrible anyway. But with that out of the way, let's get into State of Origin. We will start off with the women's ones. So game 1 for women's State of Origin is happening on the 1st of May, which that's when Magic Round's happening as well. So they're doing the same thing like they did this year. Maroons taking on the Blues at Suncorp on the 1st of May. And then game 2 is back in Sydney. This time it is at Allianz Stadium on the 15th of May, so 2 weeks later, at Allianz between the Blues and the Maroons. And then game 3, back also in New South Wales, but it's at regional New South Wales. We have the Blues taking on the Maroons on the 29th of May, which that's when game 1 of the men's one will start. And speaking of men's, let me just bring it up here. Should have been more organised, but it's all right. And as for the State of Origin, men's State of Origin got leaked or got announced earlier last week. So game 1 is up at Suncorp on the 28th of May. So Origins push a week forward this time rather than around the same time. So this will be like round 12 or 13 at this point. Game 2, we head to Perth for the first time in a few years. I think 2022 was the last time Perth held a game there. I'm not 100% sure, but it was either 2022 or 20. And then you got Maroons as the home team, even though technically this is a neutral venue. And then game 3 is back in Sydney at a Accor Stadium on the 9th of July. Very exciting. Hopefully New South Wales can prevail in the State of Origin like they did this year. We're still waiting on an announcement for a new Blues coach as Michael Maguire's gone to the Broncos. But it is what it is. And with State of Origin out of the way, let's get into the women's NRLW. Now, there's been 2 new teams added. Technically, one is returning. The Warriors return after missing out the last 4 years. They think they collapsed due to the pandemic times, and they couldn't travel. So unfortunately, they just closed themselves up, and now they finally returned. And the new team, the Bulldogs, which we've increased from 10 to 12 teams, very exciting. We've got 11 rounds, and they've got their own Magic Round as well. So very exciting times, and can't wait for all teams to finally get a NRLW team eventually. Anyways, let's get into the NRLW clash. So we kick off on the 3rd of July. So we're starting a bit earlier in July, at least this time. Starting us off, we have the Sharks versus the Eels at Sharks Stadium on Thursday. The Friday game, we have the Bulldogs taking on the Knights at 5:40. On Saturday, got two games. No, we've got three games. Wow. So we've got the Broncos taking on the West Tigers at 12:45 at Totally Workwear Stadium in Brisbane. 3:15, Raiders and the Dragons at GIO Stadium. At 5:15 at Queensland Country Bank Stadium, Cowboys versus Titans, and finish off round one for the NRLW. We have the Roosters taking on the Warriors at Allianz Stadium. So Warriors finally returning after missing the last 4 years. Now we move into round two. The first game we kick off of round two is the West Tigers and the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs at Campbelltown Sports Stadium. On the Saturday, there are three games. At 12:45, with a venue to be announced, Raiders will take on the Sharks. I believe that will play at GIO, most likely will be announced in the near future. Next game at 3:15, we got an Australia Jubilee. We have the Dragons taking on the Roosters, followed by back in Townsville again. So Cowboys get back home games in the women's side. Cowboys versus the Knights at Queensland Country Bank at 5:15. And then on the Sunday, we have the Warriors taking on the Eels at Mount Smart, and then the Titans at 11:50, and then the Titans taking on the Broncos at Seabus Super Stadium at 4:00. Sorry if I do stubble a bit, guys. I haven't been well for the last few days, and I'm just starting to get better. Now we move into round three for the NRLW. Raiders versus Eels, 12:45 on Saturday, followed by the Bulldogs versus Dragons at 3:15 at a call. At 5:15, also on the Saturday, Sharks Stadium, Sharks versus Cowboys. And then on the Sunday, we've got three games. First game at Leichhardt Oval at 11:50, West Tigers versus Titans. Broncos versus Roosters at 1:45 at Totally Workwear Stadium. And then the Knights taking on the Warriors at McDonald Jones at 6:15. Now we move into round four. I just can't wait to see when this Magic Round fixture will show up for them. All right, so on the Saturday, we have the Warriors against the Titans at Mount Smart again. Roosters versus Bulldogs at 3:15 at Allianz. Cowboys versus Raiders at Queensland Country Bank. Then on Sunday, we got Eels versus Knights at Eric Tweeddale Stadium. Dragons versus Broncos with a venue to be announced, either Cogra or Wollongong. And the Sharks versus West Tigers at Shark Stadium at 6:15. Now we move into round five of the NRLW, so we're pretty much halfway through. Titans versus Bulldogs to open up round five at 12:15 at McDonald Jones Stadium. So this is Magic round NRLW round five. Okay, so I was a bit confused why it's McDonald Jones, because McDonald Jones is hosting the Magic round for the women's. So Titans versus Bulldogs at 12:15, Tigers versus Roosters at 2:15, and then at 4:15, Broncos versus Sharks. And then on the Sunday, so the 6 games are split across 2 days, which is good to see. And then on the Sunday at 11:50 to open up day 2, Cowboys versus Warriors. Of course, Knights are a home team, so good for them, I guess. Knights versus Raiders at 1:45, and then to end off Magic Round NRLW, Eels versus Dragons at 3:45. So they're all day games, which is interesting to see. So that's roughly halfway through their season at the start of August. Now we move into round 6. We have the Dragons versus Sharks at the Australia Jubilee at 12:45, followed by the Knights at 3:15 at McDonald Jones, Knights versus Tigers. Then we've got the Bulldogs versus Warriors at a course stadium at 5:15. On the Sunday, we have the Titans versus Roosters at Seabus Super Stadium at 11:50. Raiders versus Broncos at 1:45. And then the finish off round 6, we have the Eels versus Cowboys at CommBank Stadium. Now we move into round 7 of the NRLW. NRLW, we've got the Sharks versus Titans, 12:45. Broncos versus Eagles at 3:15 at Suncorp, followed by the Warriors versus Raiders at 5:15 at Mount Smart. And then to finish off the Sunday games, we have the Tigers versus Dragons at 11:50 at Allianz. Okay, Tigers taking a home game at Allianz for NRLW. Interesting to see. Roosters versus Knights at Industry Group Stadium at 1:45. So that confirms that the Roosters men's side will take a game to Central Coast again. And then the Cowboys versus the Bulldogs at Queensland Country Bank, the round off round 7. Now we get moving to round 8 of the NRLW. So a few more rounds to go. We'll get to see a few people in the chat. Hello, William Pearson, and hello, Jason Reed. I hope you guys are doing well. You guys haven't missed much. I've only just done State of Origin, the preseason challenge, the All-Stars, and I'm just doing the NRLW games now. So I haven't done the more important ones yet. So, and also, please, guys, if you're in the chat as well, no spoilers under round 1 and Magic Round. I have not seen the full men's draw yet of under round 1 and Magic Round. So please, no spoilers until we get to the round that you guys are that we're versing each other. Anyways, round 8 for NRLW: Bulldogs versus Raiders at Belmore Sports Ground, followed by Titans versus Dragons at Seabus. Eels versus Roosters at 3:15. Eels versus Roosters at 5:15 at CommBank. And then on Sunday, we got the Knights versus Broncos at McDonald Jones, Warriors versus Sharks at Mount Smart, and the Tigers versus Cowboys at Leichhardt Oval. Round 9 for the NRLW now. So we're getting towards the end of August, so a few more rounds to go. Raiders versus Tigers at Canberra at 12:45. Dragons versus Warriors at 3:15 at Cogra. I haven't seen a Wollongong game on here yet, which is interesting. Cowboys versus Roosters at Queensland Country Bank. Sharks versus Knights at 11:50 at Shark Stadium. Totally Workwear Stadium. Broncos versus Bulldogs at 1:45. And then to close off round 9, Titans versus Eels at 6:15 at Seabus Super Stadium. All right, round 10, the penultimate round for the NRLW. Roosters versus Raiders on a Friday night this time. Round 10, Roosters versus Raiders at Allianz. Then Saturday games, we got Dragons versus Cowboys at Wynn Stadium, followed by at 12:45, followed by Bulldogs versus Sharks at a call at 3:15. Warriors versus Broncos at 12 o'clock at Mount Smart. Knights versus Titans at McDonald Jones, and 6:15 Eels Tigers at CommBank. And now we get into the last round of the NRLW. Final round of the NRLW comes as this: Roosters versus Sharks at 7:45, with a venue to be announced. I'm going to say Allianz if at that point. Eels versus Bulldogs at CommBank at 6 o'clock at night. Damn, on Friday night. Then a Saturday game, 12 o'clock, we have Broncos versus Cowboys at Totally Workwear Stadium, followed by Titans versus Raiders at Seabus at 1:45. And then on 2 Sunday games, West Tigers versus Warriors at Campbelltown, followed by the last game of the NRLW, Knights versus Dragons at McDonald Jones Stadium. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the NRLW draw of 2025. Very exciting to see the Bulldogs and Warriors join. The Warriors returning after 4 years, or 3 years at this stage at the moment, and the Bulldogs being the new team on the block as well. So only a few more years until we get every single team with an NRLW. Hopefully we'll get 1 or 2 for next year as well. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you guys have been waiting for, we are finally getting into the men's draw for 2025. Of course, we will start in Vegas before we return in Australia. We all know what round 1 is like, but I'll still go through round 1, and of course, Magic Round, which is round 9. We'll go for round 1 for 27, and let's see how the draw stacks up. And I'm not going to talk about the single draws for each team. That's going to be for a different time. Anyways, guys, without further ado, here is the men's draw starting with round 1. So we kick off on 2nd of March, 11 a.m. our time here. We have the Raiders versus Warriors opening 2025 at 11 a.m., followed by the Panthers and Sharks at 3:30 p.m. The 4-peat premiers against the team that made the top 4 last year. Then we return to Australia for the 6th of March to open in Australia. The first game to open in Australia, we have the Roosters taking on the Broncos at Allianz Stadium, Thursday night, 8 o'clock. Then we move into the 2 Friday games at 6 o'clock, West Tigers versus Knights at Campbelltown, followed by the Dolphins taking on the Rabbitohs. I don't know why it says 9 o'clock for some reason. It's meant to be 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock our time, 7 o'clock Queensland time, unless they're actually putting it as 9 o'clock here, which that would be fucking ridiculous. I mean, they've never done that before, and they shouldn't do that if that's the case. They've got to fix the time. Dragons versus Bulldogs, 5:30 Saturday at Cogra. I thought it'll be out the gong, but I was wrong. Then followed by 7:35, Manly taking on the Cowboys at Four Pines Park. And then the last game to open up round 1, Storm taking on the Eels at Amy Buck. Can Storm remain undefeated in round 1? We have to see. And the Titans get the first bye of 2025. Now, between round 2 and 27, other than round 9, do not know what the other games are. So let's see what the draw stacks. And let's see which team gets the bye for each round as well. All right. Now we move on to round 2. Open up round 2. We have the Knights taking on the Dolphins. So Dolphins come to New South Wales, but not in Sydney. So that's a bad start there. Thursday night, 8 o'clock. Warriors versus Manly on the Friday, 6 o'clock at Mount Smart. Followed by Panthers playing against the Roosters. So Panthers are not playing any of the Vegas teams from round 2. I don't know about the other teams yet, but we'll see how we go. So Panthers versus Roosters, 8 p.m. at CommBank. Got to get used to that, guys. Panthers are playing at CommBank now because Penrith is getting redeveloped for the next 2 years. Then we go to Saturday, 3 o'clock. Yes, Dragons versus Rabbitohs on the gong. We haven't played Wollongong since 2022. That game's locked in, and we'll be going to that one. So very exciting. Then the Cowboys head back up to Queensland. Cowboys take on the Sharks 5:30 at Queensland Country Bank, followed by the Raiders taking on the Broncos at GIO Stadium 7:35. So Broncos have got back-to-back away games. That's interesting to see. And then Sunday, we've got 2 games, no 2 o'clock yet, as it is daylight savings still at that point. Eels versus West Tigers at CommBank, 4 o'clock Sunday, 4 o'clock free to air. That will be interesting. And Bulldogs versus Titans at 6:15 at Belmore Sports Ground. So I assume Dogs have got 2 games at Belmore at least. And Melbourne get this bye for round 2. So none of the Vegas teams are versing each other in round 2. That's interesting. Well, let's double check. Yeah, that's interesting. What, Rabbitohs playing Wollongong? Why not? Now we move into round 3. Round 3, Thursday night. We have the Storm. We have the grand final rematch between the Storm and the Panthers. This time at Amy Park. Storm versus Panthers at 8 o'clock. Perfect time slot. Oh, so we're not playing the Roosters in round 3 for a change. That's a shock. So Warriors versus Roosters at Mount Smart Stadium, 6 o'clock, followed by the Broncos and Cowboys. So we've been replaced for the main Queensland Derby. Broncos versus Cowboys, 8 o'clock. Guess we'll be playing at a different round then. Are you? Oh my god! All right, so another Saturday, 3 o'clock for the Rabbits. Sharks versus Rabbitohs at Shark Stadium. So we get 3 away games again. That's 3 years in a row. Bruh. I don't like it, but at least we've got a game in Sydney. All right, Dolphins have got their first game at KO Stadium against the West Tigers. Good choice, because you're not going to get a good crowd at Suncorp. That's for sure. Dolphins versus West Tigers at KO at 5:30. Titans versus Knights at Seabus. Then we move Saturday 7:35. Then we get into the Sunday games. Eels versus Bulldogs. So you got another rivalry game, 4:00 Sunday, 4:00 at Combank, and then you got Manly versus Raiders at 4 Pines Park, and the Dragons at 6:15. Dragons have got the bye for round 3. So biggest rivalry is not round 3, which is interesting to see. Alrighty, now we move into round 4, and of course, we finally get our first home game. Rabbitohs versus Panthers, 8:00 Thursday at the Core Stadium. So we've got our first game at the Core. And then followed by the Friday game, we've got the Roosters versus Titans at Allianz Stadium. This will be the Titans' first time at new Allianz Stadium. Followed by the Battle of Brisbane, Dolphins versus Broncos. The Dolphins as the home team. Saturday, 3:00, Dragons versus Storm at the Strata Jubilee, or Cogra for short. And then Cowboys versus Raiders at Queensland Country Bank, 5:30. Followed by Sharks versus Bulldogs at Shark Stadium, Saturday, 7:35. Another intense rivalry game. Sea Eagles versus Eels at 4 Pines Park, Sunday, 4:00. And we finish off with the West Tigers and the Warriors at 6:15 at Campbelltown Sports Stadium. And the Knights get their first bye in round 4. So round 4 isn't too bad. Now we move into round 5. Round 5, we open up with the Raiders taking on the Sharks. That's Thursday night game at Canberra. Interesting. Followed by the Panthers versus Cowboys, Friday, 6 p.m. Here we go. The biggest and best rivalry in the game. Rabbitohs versus Roosters at a Core Stadium. Friday, 8:00. Round 5 this time. Okay, changed for once. At least we'll play out of Core this time first rather than Allianz. So I guess we'll be playing the last round at Allianz. Not a bad way to start round 5, honestly. Eels versus Dragons, Saturday, 3:00 at Combank. Followed by another Queensland Derby, Titans versus Dolphins at Seabus, 5:30. And then Broncos versus West Tigers at Suncorp, 7:35. And we move into the Sunday games, mainly getting another 4:00 fixture. Very nice. Manly versus Melbourne, the Battle of Brookie, and then followed by the Bulldogs versus Knights. They get their first home game at a Core Stadium as well after playing at Belmore beforehand, and the Warriors get the bye in the 5th round. Round 6. So this won't be Easter. Easter round will be round 7. I think. All right, round 7. We've got Dolphins versus Panthers at Suncorp Stadium. Dolphins getting quite a few Suncorp Stadium games already. Not many away games. Dragons versus Titans, Friday, 6:00 at Wynn Stadium. Remember, Titans have never won at Wynn Stadium, so it'll be interesting to see if they can pull that off. And then we've got a blockbuster Friday night game, Broncos versus Roosters at Suncorp. So we've got 2 Suncorp games finally. Broncos versus Roosters, free to air, 8:00. And then we got the Battle of the Beaches, Sharks versus Manly at Optus Stadium. Sharks taking a home game to Optus. Here's your reason why. It's because Rabbitohs taking on the Cowboys. Saturday, 5:30. 3:30 over in 3:30 in Perth. Oh, that's interesting to say the least. Saturday, 5:30. And we get our I was hoping we won't play the Cowboys there. But it is what it is, and I could think about going to Perth. We'll just have to wait and see. And of course, Saturday, 7:35. We're not even in Queensland, New South Wales, or Victoria. We are going to the Northern Territory for Eels taking on the Raiders. This will be the Eels' last time they'll be taking a home game to Darwin TIO Stadium, as that they announced that they will no longer be playing there after next year. And we get the 2:00 fixture finally returning, so scrap the 6:15 game. So Sunday, 2:00, Storm versus Warriors at Amy Park. So we will not get we won't get an ANZAC clash between them once again. And then we've got the Knights taking on the West Tigers Sunday, 4 o'clock. So, 3 air game between them two. That's not going to be good. And, of course, the Bulldogs get their first bye of the year in round 6. Now we move to round 7. Round 7 is Easter. So we started with 3 away games, 3 home games, but 1 home game in Perth. Interesting that the Sharks are taking a fucking home game to Perth. All right. Now we got round 7, Manly versus Dragons at 4 Pints Park to open up round 7. And then you got the traditional Good Friday clash between the Bulldogs and the Rabbitohs. The Dogs are the home team this time at a Call Stadium. I will be there, of course. And then for the other Friday night game, so no 6 o'clock game, as this is a public holiday and this is Easter round. Dolphins versus Storm. Dolphins versus Storm at Suncorp Stadium. Dolphins have got quite a few Suncorp Stadium games already. God damn. Then we move on to Saturday, no 3 o'clock game. Got the Warriors versus Broncos at 5:30 at Mount Smart, followed by the Roosters taking on the Panthers. So the second time these two are playing in recent weeks at Allianz Stadium, Saturday, 7:35. Then we have the Titans versus Raiders at 2 o'clock at Seabus on the Sunday. Knights versus Sharks at 4 o'clock on the Sunday. And then, of course, we've got the traditional Easter Monday clash between the West Tigers and Eels at CommBank. The Tigers are playing at CommBank for 4 games across the year. So they're playing less games at Leichhardt and of course Campbelltown are playing 4 games at Campbelltown and 3 games at Leichhardt, I assume. And Cowboys get their first bye in round 7. Round 8 is Anzac round. Round 8 on Anzac Eve, we have the Broncos taking on the Bulldogs at Suncorp Stadium, followed by the traditional Good Friday clash. This time the Roosters are the home game. I meant the Anzac Day clash, I meant to say, sorry. Roosters versus Dragons at Sunday, 4 o'clock at Allianz, followed by the Warriors taking on the Knights at Apollo Project Stadium in Christchurch. So they're taking their second ever game to Christchurch. Friday, 6 o'clock, I meant to say, sorry. And, of course, we are playing in Melbourne again. Melbourne versus Rabbitohs. Anzac Day clash. Hopefully this doesn't become a permanent thing. We could break the streak, but we'll see how I saw how we played against them this year. Terrible. But see how we go. 8-10. Cowboys versus Titans at 5:30 on the Saturday. And then Panthers versus Manly at CommBank at 7:35. On the Sunday games, Raiders versus Dolphins, GIO Stadium. And then we've got the West Tigers taking on the Sharks at Leichhardt Oval for a Sunday, 4 o'clock. And then Parramatta get the bye. And then round 9, ladies and gentlemen, is Magic Round. This is the best time of year that is not counting the finals. We all know what the Magic Round fixture is, but I'll just go for it once again. Excuse me. All right, so the open up Magic Round on the Friday. Sharks versus Eels. And then we got the Roosters versus Dolphins to round off to finish off day 1. Not really good day to watch 2 great quality games. No Broncos playing the 8 o'clock game, and of course Manly are not playing against Brisbane, which we'll get to in a sec. Day 2, Rabbitohs playing against Newcastle, followed at 3 o'clock, followed by the Warriors playing at 5:30. Warriors taking on the Cowboys. And the finish off day 2, and I don't agree with this game, the West Tigers versus the Dragons. They should swap it with other games, but there must be a reason for it. 7:45. And then day 3, the final day of Magic Round 2025. Titans versus Bulldogs at 1:50. Panthers versus Broncos at 4:05, the 4 o'clock fixture. And the finish off a big game, Storm Raiders, 6:25. And interesting to see that they're playing at that time. And, of course, Manly miss out on Magic Round, which is really unfortunate. But, of course, one team has to suffer. And, of course, Manly had been the home team for the last few years. But at least they get 12 home games at Rookie this year. I assume so. Round 10, Eels versus Dolphins on the Thursday at Combank. Knights versus Titans on the Friday at 6 o'clock. Rabbitohs versus Broncos for a Friday 8 o'clock game at the Core Stadium. So I think that's our third game at a Core, I believe. Raiders versus Bulldogs for a Saturday 3 o'clock. Dragons versus Warriors at Wynn Stadium at 5:30. And then finish off Super Saturday, Cowboys versus Panthers at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. Sunday, we got Storm versus West Tigers at Amy Park at 2 o'clock, followed by Manly taking on the Sharks at 4 Pines Park at 4 o'clock. So battle of the beaches early on, early rounds, and Roosters get the bye. And round 11, I believe, is going to be Indigenous round. No, it's going to be Origin affected. So round 10 should be Indigenous round, I think. Yep. So round 11 will be the first Origin affected, or it could be round 13 for. We'll just have to see. Knights versus Eels on the Friday, 6 o'clock in McDonald Jones. Bulldogs versus Roosters at a Core Stadium at 8 o'clock. Dolphins versus Warriors at Suncorp, 3 o'clock. Oh, hang on. Oh, no, this is not Origin affected. Sorry. My apologies. Cowboys versus Manly, 5:30 at Queensland Country Bank. Sharks versus Storm at Shark Stadium, Saturday, 7:35. Broncos versus Dragons, Suncorp, 2 o'clock. Followed by the Raiders taking on the Titans for a Sunday, 4 o'clock. And the West Tigers taking on the Rabbitohs at 6:15 at Campbelltown. We've returned to Campbelltown again. That's a surprise. And the Panthers get their first bye. So that could be the first. That could be Origin. Sorry, that could be Indigenous round most likely, because round 12 here we only got 5 games. At least I got that correct. Bulldogs first Dolphins at a Core Stadium. So Dolphins finally play at a Core Stadium for the first time in their short tenure. Thursday 7:50. The only Friday game, Eagles first Manly at Combank Stadium. So they both play each other early, which is a surprise. Panthers versus Newcastle at Carrington Park in Bathurst. So this will be their first game that is not played at Combank, and the first home game outside of Combank and Magic Ground, of course. Saturday 5:30. Then we get Saturday 7:35 between the Roosters and Sharks. A venue to be announced. I'm going to say Allianz most likely. And the last game to finish off round 12, Warriors versus Raiders at Mount Smart Stadium. And that's our first Origin affected round. So there you go. And the bye. So Tigers, Titans, Storm, Rabbitohs, Dragons, Cowboys, and Broncos all get a bye. Cowboys second bye, Rabbits first bye, Melbourne second bye, Gold Coast second bye, Tigers first bye, I think. Dragons first bye. I'm not sure. I'm just going to say bye. Sorry, guys. But there you go. Our first Origin affected round for round 12. Round 13, so a few days after game 1, is played. Dragons versus Knights at the Strata Jubilee Stadium. Friday, 8 o'clock, the early Friday game. Titans versus Storm, Saturday, 3 o'clock at Gold Coast. Cowboys versus Tigers at Queensland Country Bank, 5:30 against the Tigers. And here we go, the one that Manly claims to be the biggest game of all. Manly versus Broncos for the first time in 11 years by the time next year. Saturday, 7:35 at 4 Pines Park. They finally get to play it. Broncos have not played at 4 Pines Park in 11 years. That's nuts. And we move on to the Sunday games. There will be 3 of them, I believe. Yes, there is. Rabbitohs versus Warriors. Sunday, 2 o'clock at a Core Stadium. So I don't think we'll be going to Mount Smart, so that's a bit of a shame. Panthers versus Eels in the Western Sydney Derby. Panthers, Eels, Sunday, 4 o'clock. And the Roosters versus Raiders at Allianz Stadium. And then for the byes, there's 3 byes. Dolphins get their first bye, I believe. Bulldogs second bye, and Sharks first one, I think. And that's round 13, so we're pretty much halfway through, guys. No. Round 14, not 12. Sorry, guys. Things just a bit slow. You gonna load or what? Yep, here we go. Alrighty, round 14. Not Origin affected, that will be the next round. Knights versus Manly, 7:50 on the Thursday. On Friday, we've got 2 games. Storm versus Cowboys in Melbourne. Cowboys have not played in Melbourne since 2019. 6 o'clock. Followed by Dolphins versus Dragons at Suncorp. Friday, 8 o'clock. Sharks versus Warriors, 5:30 clash. No 3 o'clock, which is interesting. Followed by the Broncos taking on the Titans at Suncorp Stadium. Hey, another 2 o'clock game. Raiders versus Rabbitohs, Sunday, 2 o'clock. That is perfect for me. At GIO Stadium. Tigers playing Panthers, Sunday, 4 o'clock at CommBank. Followed by the Bulldogs playing the Eels on the traditional Good Friday. Oh, no, that meant King's birthday, so that's why there's no 3 o'clock game. King's birthday, 4 o'clock. Bulldogs versus Eels, and the Roosters get the bye for that one. All right, round 15. So this will be our second Origin affected round. Sharks versus Dragons in the battle of next door at Shark Stadium. Titans versus Manly at Seabus, Friday, 8 o'clock. Knights versus Roosters in Newcastle, Saturday, 5:30. Saturday, 7:35. Cowboys versus Dolphins at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. And, of course, we get the Rabbitohs versus the Bulldogs. So at least we play each other twice. Thank heavens. Rabbitohs versus Bulldogs at the Call Stadium, Sunday, 4 o'clock. Excellent. So we're getting quite a few Sunday games, which is good to see. They don't usually get many Sunday games, us. And for the buys, Broncos, Eels, Panthers, Raiders, Melbourne, Warriors, Tigers. And now we move on to round 16. Round 16, so after game 2, West Tigers versus Raiders at Campbelltown, Friday, 8 o'clock. Tigers getting a few free-to-air fixtures this year. It's interesting to see. Warriors versus Panthers at Mount Smart Stadium on Saturday, 3 o'clock. Okay, so Dolphins taking another home game to Perth for the 3rd year in a row. This time, HPF Park, Saturday, 5:30. And this will actually be the second where game 2 is held as well, funny enough. Dolphins versus Knights. Rabbitohs versus Storm, Saturday, 7:35. So we're playing Melbourne twice again. And now we've got Sunday games. Broncos versus Sharks at Suncorp, followed by the Roosters taking on the Cowboys at Allianz, Sunday, 4 o'clock. Then Sunday, 6:15, Eels versus Titans at CommBank Stadium. And for the buyers, Bulldogs, Dragons, and Manly. And round 17. Round 17, we got the Panthers taking on the Bulldogs, open up round 17, Thursday night, 7:50. Manly versus Tigers at 6 o'clock at 4 Pines Park. Knights and Raiders, yet another free-to-air game. Wow. At McDonald Jones Stadium, Friday, 8 o'clock. Broncos getting another day game. Broncos versus Warriors at Suncorp, 3 o'clock. Dragons versus Eels at Wynn Stadium, Saturday, 5:30. Yay! I've been looking forward to this one, the second Wayne Bennett Cup. Dolphins finally playing a game against us in Sydney for once. Saturday, 7:35. Rabbitohs versus Dolphins. Can't wait. Sunday, 2 o'clock. Got Storm versus Sharks at 2 o'clock. Then we got Seabus Super Stadium Titans versus Cowboys. And then the Roosters get their third and final bye. So Roosters get all their free buys across rounds where there's no other team getting a bye. So I think they're the first team to finish off with all 3 buys. Yep. See how their ride home will be. All right, Sunday 8 o'clock, round 18. I think this will be the last Origin affected game. Yes, indeed it will. Bulldogs versus Broncos at a call, Friday 8 o'clock. Raiders versus Dragons at GIO, 5:30. Cowboys versus Melbourne, 7:35 on the Saturday. And then the only Sunday game, Roosters versus Tigers. Oh no, there's two Sunday games, sorry. Wait, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah. Don't worry, my bad. Cowboys versus Melbourne, Saturday, 7:35. Roosters versus Tigers, 2 o'clock Allianz. And yes, we get a game of Brookie, but it's Origin affected, which is not helpful. We play another Sunday game, Manly versus Rabbitohs, 4 Pints Park. First time in 4 years we get to play at Brookie. Thank heavens. And we got the buys, Dolphins, Eels, Newcastle, Panthers, Sharks, Titans, Warriors. So I think we've still got 2 buys left, I think. We'll just have to see. I think we've got 1 or 2 left. It's one of them. Alrighty. And we got the Battle of the Sea Creatures for the first, I think, in the early time then. Sharks versus Dolphins at Shark Stadium. This is also after game 3. And then from round 20 onwards, we will be going into the finals. So Battle of the Sea Creatures, Sharks, Dolphins at Shark Stadium, Friday, 8 o'clock. Saturday, 3 o'clock, we got the Knights taking on the Storm at McDonald Jones Stadium. Dragons and Roosters playing against each other again. Dragons playing the Roosters at Cogra, Saturday, 5:30. Cowboys versus Bulldogs at Queensland Country Bank Stadium, Saturday, 7:35. And then the Warriors taking on the Tigers, Sunday, 2 o'clock at Mount Smart, followed by the Eels taking on the Panthers at CommBank Stadium. In the battle of the Western Sydney Derby again, Eels versus Panthers. And the last game to close off is another Queensland Derby, Titans versus Broncos at 6:15. And then the last few buys, Rabbitohs, Manly, and Raiders. So we both get our last buy again. I don't think it's our last buy. I could be wrong though. We'll just have to see. And from round 20 onwards, ladies and gentlemen, no more Origin, road to the finals. So round 20, we've got the Dolphins taking on the Cowboys to open up on the Thursday at 7:50 at Suncorp. Dolphins haven't played that many games at KO. They've only had 1 game, at least to my knowledge. Sharks versus Roosters at Shark Stadium that Saturday, 6 o'clock, followed by the Panthers taking on the Rabbitohs at CommBank Friday night, 8 o'clock. So they haven't had Mudgee yet, which that's a surprise. Saturday, 3 o'clock, Raiders versus Eagles at GIO Stadium. Bulldogs versus Dragons at a core stadium, 5:30. Melbourne versus Manly at Amy Park. So the second battle of Brookie. That's Saturday, 7:35. And Sunday, 2 o'clock, probably one of the worst games to watch. West Tigers and Titans at Leichhardt Oval once again. And then the last game, Knights versus Warriors at Mount Smart Stadium, and Broncos get the bye. Round 21. So we're in our last remaining 7 rounds. Roosters versus Melbourne at 7:50 at Allianz Stadium. I think it's the first time they've met this year. Cowboys versus Dragons at Queensland Country Bank, Friday, 6 o'clock, followed by another Queensland game. Broncos versus Eels at CommBank. At Suncorp, my apologies. Warriors taking on the Titans at Mount Smart Stadium, 3 o'clock. Panthers versus Tigers, 5:30 at CommBank, followed by us playing against the Sharks at Industry Group Stadium. Yes, we're taking a home game to Industry Group Stadium at least, and we're playing the Sharks. I think that's going to be the first time. No, second time we'll probably play them. Interesting to see. So I guess no game at Allianz this year, which is pathetic. Raiders versus Knights, Sunday 2 o'clock. Bulldogs versus Manly. Venue to be announced. Sunday 4 o'clock. I'm going to say Belmore most likely. And the Dolphins get their third and final bye. Round 22. Round 22. Eels versus Storm at Combank Stadium Thursday night. Warriors versus Dolphins at Mount Smart. Friday 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock over there. And then the main game, Broncos versus Rabbitohs at Suncorp. Friday 8 o'clock. We get into August now. Titans versus Panthers at Seabus Super Stadium 3 o'clock. Titans Panthers. Dragons versus Raiders at Wynn Stadium on the Gong at 5:30, followed by Manly taking on the Roosters at 4 Pines Park at Saturday 7:35. Now we move into the Sunday games. West Tigers versus Bulldogs at Combank, 2 o'clock, followed by the Sharks taking on the Cowboys at Shark Stadium. And the Knights get their third and final bye. Interesting to see who will get the last bye of this year. Next year, rather. Storm versus Broncos to open up round 23 at Amy Park. Knights versus Panthers at McDonald Jones Stadium, followed by the Raiders taking on Manly at GIO. Saturday, 3 o'clock, we've got Dragons and the Sharks in the second battle of next door neighbours. Then we've got the Dolphins taking on the Roosters at Suncorp, Saturday 5:30, followed by the Bulldogs taking on the Warriors at the Core Stadium, Saturday 7:35. Here we go. Titans versus Rabbitohs at Seabus, Sunday 2 o'clock. At least it's not round 14. They finally learnt their lesson. And then the last game, we've got the Eels taking on the Cowboys. Eels, Cowboys, Sunday 4 o'clock. Tigers get their last bye. Round 24. Round 24 opens up with the second grand final rematch between the Panthers and the Storm, this time at Combank, 7:50. Warriors versus Dragons at Mount Smart Stadium, 6 o'clock, followed by the Roosters versus Bulldogs at Allianz Stadium, Friday, 8 o'clock. Sharks versus Titans at Shark Stadium, Saturday, 3 o'clock. Broncos versus Dolphins, 5:30 at Suncorp, so the second battle of Brisbane. Here we go. We finally play Parramatta. Oh, we do take a game to Allianz Stadium. There you go. Saturday, 7:35, Rabbitohs Eels. So we've taken one home game to Magic Ground, Perth. So that's probably 8 games out of the core then, which is fine. So Saturday, Rabbitohs Eels at Allianz. Sunday is West Tigers versus Manly at Allianz. What the fuck? 3 games at Allianz. Wow. Like a miniature Magic Ground. Wow. Okay, that's interesting to see. West Tigers versus Manly at Allianz. Didn't expect to see that. And the Cowboys taking on the Knights at Queensland Country Bank, Sunday, 4 o'clock. And Raiders get the bye. Round 25. Only 3 rounds remaining. Round 25. We open up on a Thursday night. Rabbitohs versus Dragons. Rabbitohs versus Dragons at the Core Stadium. Panthers taking on the Raiders at Mudgee. Finally, they get the Mudgee game. Friday, 6 o'clock. Storm versus Bulldogs, Friday night at Amy Park. Manly versus Dolphins, 3 o'clock. Saturday, 3 o'clock. Titans versus Warriors at Seabus, 5:30. Eels versus Roosters at Combank. Knights versus Broncos at McDonald Jones Stadium, 2 o'clock. And the last game to finish off, West Tigers versus Cowboys at Leichhardt Oval. And the Sharks get the bye. So I think we've had our 3 byes, I think. Yeah. All right, Bulldog. All right, round 26. Bulldogs versus Panthers at a Core Stadium. Warriors versus Eagles at Mount Smart Stadium, Friday, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock their time. Storm versus Roosters at Amy Park, so they do play twice. Friday, 8 o'clock. Saturday, 3 p.m., we have the Raiders and the Tigers at GIO Stadium. Dragons versus Manly at the Strata Jubilee at 5:30. Fuck. Cowboys versus Broncos at Queensland Country Bank, Saturday, 7:35. Sharks versus Knights at Shark Stadium, 2 o'clock. Dolphins taking on the Titans at Suncorp, Sunday, 4 o'clock. And we get our last bye in round 26. Well, we all know who we're playing the last round, so no surprise there. So that means we don't go to fucking Queensland. Fuck. Don't go to for Queensland Country Bank. That's ridiculous. All right, Broncos in the last round to finish off round 27. Broncos versus Storm to open up round 27. Manly versus Manly versus Warriors at 4 Points Park. Round and the biggest rivalry again this time at Allianz. So at least we finish off at Allianz this time. Roosters versus Rabbitohs at Allianz Stadium, Friday, 8 o'clock. Dragons versus Penrith, Wynn Stadium, Saturday, 3 o'clock. Titans versus Tigers at Seabus at 5:30. Oh, God. Bulldogs versus Sharks, Saturday, 7:35 at the Core Stadium. Okay, so Dolphins finally get another game at KO. Them against the Raiders, Sunday, 2 o'clock. And the last game to finish off 2025 in the regular season, Eels versus Knights at CommBank Stadium. And the team to get the last bye is the Cowboys. So didn't expect to see that. So there you go. That's the full 2025 men's draw, NRLW draw, State of Origin, and the All-Stars game, and of course the preseason challenge. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I enjoyed bringing out the draw. Now I've got to figure out who has the toughest one and go through all the games once again, especially so I can plan to decide what games. What I'm planning to go to all games, of course, but obviously not able to go to Townsville, which that's one of the few places I haven't been to yet. But gotta wait till 2026, I guess. But anyways, guys, thank you all for watching this lovely stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here, and turn on those bell notifications whenever a video gets posted. Anyways, guys, I'm getting out of here. There'll be another video coming out within the next few days, and make sure you guys will stay tuned to that. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching. See you all in the next one.